where I talk about all the things I make, mostly knitting. My name is Irma. You can find me on YouTube, Ravelry, and Instagram as Wolwerkjes. Welcome everybody. I hope you had a good time since I last talked to you, and we will just get started. I mostly have knitting. I have some purchases to show you. I have some finished objects to show you. And I will start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Boneyard shawl by Stephen West. If I remember correctly, it's a free pattern at the moment. I think so. It's very easy. It's just a repeat of, it's just stockinette with some garter ridges. I don't know if you can see those. Every so often. I made this out of handspun yarn. I did not limit myself with the dimensions in the pattern. I just knitted until all my yarn was in the shawl. As I said, it's handspun. It's all shades of green merino and some stellina, I think. Some glitter here and there. There is some light blue, and the white patches you see is some cotton I blended in. I once bought some cotton to spin, and that's just not my jam, so I use it to make like a tweedy effect in some of the other yarns I spin. So for that it's perfect, but spinning pure cotton, that's really not my jam. I really don't like that. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. As I said, it's a free pattern, so just look at it. It's perfect for even for leftovers, I think, but you can also really easily stripe it in between the garter pumps, or just did it in one color like he did. It will be gorgeous anyway, but it's just a triangular shawl, no fuss. It's very relaxed knitting. That's what I'm wearing. And I will tell you something about, I have one finished object to show you. It's almost finished. I want to show you another finished object, but I can't yet. It's a design for ofLaine, and it's we don't know when it will be released yet. And I haven't made any. Yeah, we didn't decide on when to share it and stuff like that. So we first have to agree on that before I can show you, but that will be coming. I have one thing I've been knitting on that's almost finished, and I have something to show you. That's an old finished object, but I was in Dordrecht this weekend with Tessa from Just Another Knitting Nerd, I think it is. She changed her name, but I think it's Just Another Knitting Nerd. You can find her on Instagram and YouTube. And we were going to see some yarn shops in Dordrecht. And I was wearing my very big cardigan I use as a jacket. And she said, well, why don't you show it? Because it's gorgeous. And I think there is a picture on my Instagram, but I have never shown it in video, mostly because I finished this during the Prijster, the knitting contest I did, and I just didn't have time to record videos during that period. So, and I didn't have anything to show you really, so I haven't showed it yet, but here it is. I will try and see if I can replace my camera a bit. Let's zoom out. You will see some realness, because I always clear up a bit at the place you see, but now you will see more. You can't even see it. I will try to hop on my chair. Let's see. When it's on my shoulder, you can see it's almost down to my ankles. And I use it as a jacket, and it's just lovely. I really love the color. It's knit out of plötulopi held double. So it's really a rustic yarn, but I love it. And it's as I wear it, as I said, I wear it as a jacket, so it's not always next to my skin. It is at my wrists and at my hands, but I'm not bothered by that. But yeah, I love the colors of Lopi, that they're so heathered and there is lots of color within the color. I don't know, it's heathered. I really love it, but it's always downstairs because, as I said, I use it as a jacket. The only thing that's missing is a closure, and I'm thinking about putting a clasp on it, that it will stay shut. But normally I will just walk like this, and then it's fine. But it's I think it's almost a year old now, and it stays so beautiful, and I wear it a lot. It's yeah, pure wool, and it's unspun, but because I use 2 strands together, you have like really loosely 2-ply. And yeah, let me hide the mess again. It's the perfect thing to wear outside. It's isolating, so it keeps you warm and it keeps you cool. I will not wear this in 40 degrees heat, of course, but yeah, it's very nice to wear, and I rarely get too hot in it, but I don't get cold in it, so it's perfect. And I'm thinking hard what the pattern was. I know the pattern was written for a cotton yarn, but I think I had a gift card or something, and I had some left over, and I put the pattern in my basket. I will see if I can find which pattern it was, but it was written for cotton, but it was like just squares, like you knit the sleeves separate from the body, and the body is not knit like it's a cardigan, so it's not knitted, it's knitted back and forth, but you first knit the back and then you knit the 2 front pieces, so it's knit in one piece over your shoulders, but you do have to seam the side seams, and you have to seam the sleeves. I don't mind seaming. I get yeah, I'm enjoying it every time I do it. I enjoy it more, so that's okay. But I just took the dimensions of that pattern and knit it out of my own yarn choice, and I chose plötulopi, and I think I was almost the same gauge I was knitting it at the same gauge as the pattern in the end, so that was just a lucky shot. I think I will make maybe another one of these, but maybe I will do that in a very nice thin yarn and use my knitting machine, maybe, because it's all like squares. There's a little bit of decrease in the sleeves, or not even, I think. No, it's just squares. So that's very easy to do on the knitting machine, and maybe I will one day knit another one, but this one is just perfect, and I really love the color. I'm not wearing that much red tones, but I might do it more because it fits with everything, this one. So I wanted to show you that. It's an old finished object, but I also have a new finished object. It's not finished, but finished enough so I can show you. It's the Twists and Turns shawl. I will take this one up so you can see it a little bit better. The knitting is done, so that's finished, but I am adding something, and I will show you in a minute. So this is my Twists and Turns and you can see already that like it's very big. I love big shawls, so that's not the point, but you can see I'm adding pom-poms, and I have to weave in the ends as well. I wove in all the ends of the scarf, but I have some ends dangling where the pom-poms are attached because I may want to adjust them a bit. But yeah, I'm going to add another green one over here, and I'm not sure if I will do green ones in between or if I will put their grey or pink ones over there. I'm not sure, but I do like something extra over there. I did knit it completely as Stephen West did. I know there are a lot of other options out there, people that made their own adjustments, and I do like adding something like this, but I really like to make it just as the designer intended it. And I don't know, I saw some of the adjustments in my first in the first glance. I was thinking, oh, I love that more, but then I was looking that it was a little bit tighter, so the shawl would scrunch up a bit and stuff like that. And when I knit Stephen West's patterns, I know that when you do it the way he does, it will be okay. So that's why I chose to knit his version. And I do like a little bit more depth in the front, so when I would have skipped this part, it would be quite high up, and I wear v-necks a lot, so it's nice to have a little bit more coverage there. The reason I added pom-poms is not only because I really like something extra, but the place is, after blocking it became better, but this is hiding behind those loops, and I think it's my yarn choice that it's peeking out a bit when you move it, and I just don't like it. So by securing a pom-pom also in those loops at the back, it doesn't move anymore and it just stays clean and neat. So that's why I mainly added the pom-pom, so that would hide the ugly loops behind the loops. The ugly yarn over bits over here. I just didn't like it. So I'm enjoying those pom-poms. I learned a lot about making pom-poms after I purchased these a long time ago. These are the pom makers. They have different sizes. I know you can make pom-poms out of cardboard, and there are the plastic ones from all kinds of, I think you can even buy them at Hema in the Netherlands. I know that's a Dutch store, but you can buy them in any craft shop, I think. But these are a little bit more luxurious, as you can say. They have different sizes. I do have different sizes, but those are pom makers, and what you do is you have those two pieces and you wrap the yarn around, and you do that for the other half as well, and then you put them in this holder. This one is shaped as a button, and then you cut it open and you put the yarn in between, and it stays together nicely. And I have never had it pop out while I'm dyeing them, because that's really a disaster when you're making a pom-pom and you're trying to dye it, and then it's the cardboard breaks or it doesn't stay secure, and then you have all those loose ends that you have to throw away. So I'm very happy with these, but when I bought them a few years ago, I did not get the look I wanted from the pom-poms, and I did some looking around. Research is a big word, but I looked a little bit around at other people's pom-poms, and there was just something different with the ones I liked. And I figured out what it was, and it's brushing them. So you always have to shape your pom-pom by cutting it. But before you do that, before you make it nice and round with your scissors, once you finish the pom-pom, I brush it out. And I have a brush from my blending board, but I think a brush you use for pets will be perfect as well. You have to have a brush with, where did I put it? Oh, here. You have to have a brush with teeth, like with points, and you brush the pom-pom out carefully. It makes it fuzzy, and then you cut it in shape, and you get way nicer pom-poms that way. They are easier to shape when you cut them. They get rounder, and I just love them so much more. So I will finish this pretty soon, but it's not that I do enjoy making pom-poms, but I'm not someone that makes like 10 pom-poms a day. So I do one and then I put it aside, and I have 2 now, so maybe today I will make another one and we will see when it's completely finished. But it's wearable like it as well. Like, nobody will know that I want to add more pom-poms, right? But I really like the length of the shawl. I like the shape of it. It's not a triangle. I like a lot of wingspan my shawls. But when you have a triangular shawl, you get a really deep front, and I do like a little bit of depth over here, but it doesn't have to go to my knees, if you know what I mean. So I like that it has a wide wingspan, but it's not too deep, and you can wear it like this, but you can also put it a little bit more to the side and even wrap it around another time and tie it, and it's very versatile, and I love it. And I love that I used this yarn, because I do have a lot of rustic yarn, scarves and shawls out of rustic yarn, and this is a little bit more luxurious and it feels amazing around my neck. So yeah, I love it. I really love the first part, the look of it. It's amazing. I would have hoped that I enjoyed it a little bit more, because it was during the Breidagen, so I was vending at the market and I did not have a lot of time to knit that week, so I rushed it a bit, and when I look back, it could have been really fun to knit this without stress. So yeah, maybe I will do something like this in another way, because I really like how it's looking. And I also was thinking, like, you could make a almost like a skirt out of the shape. I'm not the person that wears a lot of knitted skirts, but I can see it. So that's a finished, I can call it a finished object, right? It's almost finished. The knitting is done, then it's finished. No, that's not true. Okay, let's see what I am working on. There's one thing I can show you. The other one is the design I'm making. There's one thing I'm working on I can show you, but there is not a lot of progress. But I am happy to show you because I really love this one, and it is the Morginn cardigan. I am making, it's a pattern featured in ofLaine. I will look up the designer for you again, because it's always nice to give the designer some credits. Let me see, Katrin Schneider. I think she's German. So I knitted 2 skeins into the body of the cardigan last time, and I started the sleeve, I think. Well, now I have a finished sleeve, so that's nice. I started the other sleeve. It's not going that fast because I put it aside for a bit. But yeah, I started it, and this is how much I have left of the third skein. These are 200-gram skeins. I did not put it on the scale after I finished the first sleeve, just because I'm afraid that it's just not enough to finish the other sleeve. If it is, I'm very happy. If it's not, it will be okay. But I'm hoping I can make the sleeve out of this last part of this skein. The reason I didn't put it on a scale I'm lazy, that's one thing. But the other thing is that if it's not, I'm going to think about ripping back. And I just don't want to do that, but I think I will if this isn't enough for the sleeve. But when I just go on and I don't have enough for the sleeve, then it's like only the cuff or something. It won't be a lot that I need from the fourth skein I have, which is the last skein. And I measured it, and I think it will be just a little bit shorter, but that's okay. So once I'm almost done with this sleeve, I will just finish it in the length I have. But if I'm going to weigh it now, I will rip it out maybe. And that will be a shame because it will be gorgeous anyway. So that's tricking myself a bit in just finishing it. But I really love the fisherman's rib, and I will wear this a lot, I am sure. So yeah, it's knit out of Irish wool, as I said, and it's very woolly. I love it. I love woolly woolies. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. Now I have the Stephen West shawl of the needles. I am thinking about getting out another shawl or scarf project. I'm not gonna cast on something new, but I do have the Moi shawl that's featured in Lane 52 shawls, and I started it. I think I'm halfway. I showed it before. I will show it again when I really start it again, but I think I'm halfway, so I think that will be a nice one to get out of its bag and start working on again, because that's a really lovely shawl as well, and it will be another thing that I finished, because I love working on multiple projects, that I can just grab what I want to work on that day. But sometimes you forget what you already have, so my goal is to really finish things first, although I bought yarn to make a lot of new things, which will be okay. But I'm trying to be cautious that I don't have 3 shawls on the needles or something like that. So that's the last shawl I'm knitting on, so that will be finished before I start a new shawl. And the same with sweaters and stuff. I'm not gonna knit 3 sweaters at a time. I will just have maybe a sweater and a cardigan. Is that cheating? We will see. But I think the next shawl I will be knitting is the Moi again, because it's a lovely, lovely pattern. I said I bought stuff. I already mentioned I went to Dordrecht with Tessa, which was really fun. We met through Preister, and yeah, we just kept in touch a bit. We're not like overly how do you say that? We're not talking every day or stuff like that, but it's just fun to have someone to talk about your knitting with. So, of course, my family and friends are interested in what I'm doing, but it's different to talk to someone who knows knitting than someone who just likes you're doing it. So yeah, it's fun to be in a yard shop and not feel rushed or anything. Just okay, you know, I just want to stand here and look at all the lovely stuff and say that I like things and then trying something else and just like that. That's just fun to have someone to do that with. So that was really fun. It's yeah, it was like midway, so it was fun to go to Dordrecht. We both haven't been there before, so we initially wanted to go to 3 yarn shops, but one of them closed. There, it's still an online shop, but there wasn't a brick store anymore. So we ended up going to 2 shops. The first one was Rebel with a Twist, and it was really funny. Both the shops we went to had like, it's like entering someone's home. It's a front door. You have to ring the doorbell, which we didn't understood the first time. So we're just standing there like, are we going to ring the bell, or it's a bit strange, isn't it? And then the lady opened the door and we could enter because she saw us like in doubt what to do. So yeah, that's a fun experience. It was Rebel with a Twist was a small shop in scale, like it wasn't a big room, it was a small room, but the assortment of yarns she had was very big. So she had a lot of storage, I think, somewhere else, and you could say like, do you have more of this or more of that? So that was really fun. She had really nice brands. She had Knitting for Olive and Isager and Ito and lots more. I can't remember it all. I know Tessa bought some lovely Rosa Pomar, which I really want to try one day, but I'm very curious about her experience with it. It's a rustic Portuguese wool, I think, and she bought a lovely brown and blue, which are just perfect together. So she bought that, and I bought Isager Eco Soft, which is like a chained tube. Let me see if I can take a close up for you, if it will focus. I don't know if you can see, but it's like a chained tube with alpaca fuzz in there, which is coming out, of course, and that makes it so fluffy. It makes me think a little bit of Drops Air, only fuzzier. And it's alpaca and cotton, so there's no sheep wool in here, but the tube is cotton and there is alpaca blown in. Because of the chain structure of the yarn, it isn't as stiff as just a normal cotton thread to knit with, because that's something I can't enjoy too much. I do knit with cotton sometimes, but I prefer a woolly yarn. That's just my preference. I like that more. I like how it feels more. I like how the fabric acts more, and cotton isn't as forgiving as wool is. So when you want to be your stitches to be even, you really have to take care to make them even, and wool is a little bit more forgiving. This is fluffy, so this won't be forgiving as well. I bought 4 skeins, one of them my cat's. So my cat doesn't eat my yarn or anything, and she normally doesn't really play with it, but this time she did. She dived into my bag that was unattended and she grabbed it and my husband saw it and we could save it. There's nothing broken, it's perfectly fine. It's only not looking as pretty anymore. But I think it's the alpaca. She really likes alpaca and stuff like that. So I think that she just smelled it and wanted to cuddle it. It's not that she wants to eat it, but she just wants to dive in it. But yeah, the thing I want to make out of this is like a really big cowl with a fake sweater. I don't know if that's how to call it, but like if you're wearing a jacket like this, that it would be like a cowl and that it would fall underneath the edges of your jacket and up to the edge, and that it looks like you're wearing a very thick hand knit sweater underneath, but you really aren't, because that won't fit underneath these kind of things. So something like that, and I think it will be a really soft yarn to do that in, and it will be like wearing a shawl, only a little bit different. I think that's the idea, and I don't know when I want to start this, but I was looking for yarn to do that in, and I think I'm thinking of doing something with a cable or something like that, or something with another structure, and that will be really fun. 4 skeins will be enough. I think it has how many meters? 125 meters for 50 grams. It's a really big fluffy yarn and I think it will be lovely. So that's what I bought at Rebel with a Twist. And then we went over to the other I'm sorry. Then we went over to the other shop, which was called Wolgoed. Right wool. Goed is right and wool is wool, so the right wool, something like that. So when you try to translate it, Wolgoed. And it had the same thing, like ringing the doorbell. We know what to do now, so we rang the doorbell and we could go inside and watch. They're really conscious about the tracking where the fiber came from, so they only want to have things in the shop that they could trace back. So they have also a beautiful wall of eco-friendly, it's not called it's superwash, but it's done in a different way than the normal superwash. So when you want to be conscious about your superwash choice, they have it over there. But they also have the woolly wools and stuff like that. They have Schoppelwolle, which is a German brand, and they do like the Zauberballe, which are like skeins that change color on their own in a really random way. So those are very nice as well. They had a gorgeous one with blue and brown, but I did not have the project in mind for it, so I left it there, but it was gorgeous. And they also have a lot of BC Garn, the Bio Shetland line. So they have the thicker versions and the thinner, like the Bio Shetland is really thin and fine yarn. And I was looking for a yarn to pair with this skein. This is a skein I hand spun. I don't know if I showed it before, but I have an idea for a very fun shawl / scarf project I want to design with this, and I was looking for a color to pair it with. And then it's nice to have someone with you shopping who knows what she's talking about, because I was looking at light grey and stuff like that, but it really wasn't working. And then Tessa said maybe you should go darker, because it's quite a light skein, and when you go darker it brings out the best of the handspun. And she was totally right. So we were looking at dark browns and dark blues, but once this one was next to the skein, we knew this would be the combination. It is a really dark green, and I don't know if you know, but the Bio Shetland has also, just like the Lopi has, some heathered effect, so there are more colors in the skein than you first think. It's a little bit lighter on camera now than it is in real life. It's a really, I think this is more the color you should be looking for. It's a really dark, deep green, and there is some green in here as well, which is more highlighted when it's next to a green. So it's really a good combination, I think. I'm not sure if I want to hold it double or single. It is not lace weight, but very thin. It's like 250, let me see, I don't want to say it wrong. It's 280 meters for 50 grams, so that means you have 560 meters for 100 grams. That's thin yarn. But the fun thing with this yarn is that it fluffs up once you wash it or steam it, like treat it. When you use it as well, then it will fluff up, so you can knit it at quite a big gauge. They even say you can go up to a 4mm needle without it being too loose. It all depends on the design you want, right? So I'm always a bit like cautious with the needle size they recommend. It's just the look you want, right? You can knit any yarn at, not at any gauge, but you can knit a thick yarn at a tighter gauge for a different effect, or you can knit a thin yarn at a looser gauge to get another effect. So it's always a guideline, if you want to say it. But yeah, maybe I will hold it single, maybe I will hold it double. The only thing I'm a little bit, the reason I'm in doubt is because there are lots of different thicknesses. It's almost all the same thickness, but it's handspun, right? So there are some strands that are a little bit thinner, like this one is very thin, and the one next to it is a little bit thicker. It's all within okay, yeah, it's okay. It's not like a thick thin yarn, but it is handspun, so you have that effect a bit. And I'm not sure if I should go for the thicker parts and hold it double, or pair this with the thinner parts and hold it single. But that's something I can think about a little bit more, because I haven't started it yet. But that's I'm very happy with this purchase as well, because I was really looking for something to pair with this. And there was something else I was looking for, but yeah, they had at Rebel with a Twist, they had something that would match very well. I was looking for a fluffy yarn to pair with this skein. I dyed this one myself, and I am thinking about making the cover sweater of an old pom-pom for a very long time. Oh, it's blowing out. I don't know if you can see, maybe there is a better picture inside. It is a cabled sweater, and I know when this issue came out, I fell in love with the sweater, and I was sure I wanted to make it one day. Yeah, it's just all over cabled, and it's like a little bit higher neckline, and I just loved it. And it's knit with a fingering weight and a mohair thread. And the thing with mohair is, I do love it, I love the effect, but it sheds a lot. I don't know if that's the right name, but there is a lot of fluff coming off most of the times, and I do not always. Some mohairs are a little bit too coarse, so it's really depending on the brand you have, if it's really soft or even almost toothy a bit. So I'm a little bit picky with my mohair. So I was initially looking for an alpaca yarn, like a Surrey alpaca. They also, I don't know if you have ever seen a Surrey alpaca, but they have like the big long hairs. It's really funny. You have like the normal alpacas, which are like, they have the short hairs and they are just like cute and fuzzy, and then you have the Surrey alpaca and they have like really long straight hairs. It's really fun to see. But that's softer for me. I think that's softer, but not every. It's hard to find alpaca, Surrey alpaca in brick shops most of the times, so I couldn't find it. But I did have a really nice mohair from Ito, which matched really well with this skein, because I already knew I wanted to have this as the base color. But I wasn't sure, and then we went to the other shop and I didn't want to walk back, and I was just, I will see, I will think about it. But then we went to Amsterdam with my family. We went to Nemo for the kids, and I was like, yeah, but when we are in Amsterdam, 15 minutes walk from Stephen and Penelope, I want to go there when they're open. So they were open that Sunday. So I went in there, and that's the difference with going in a yarn shop with someone who knows where they are and someone who is just there for you. Because I was in there with a goal. I knew I wanted the fuzzy yarns, so I went in the corner with the fuzzy yarns and just looked at the color and feel it and was like, yeah, this is the one, I take it. And I didn't even look too much at the other stuff, because with 2 kids and someone, yeah, it is not the perfect way to go to those stores. But I really liked the part I did see. So I paired it with this color. It makes this one a little bit darker when you hold them together, but if you look closely to this one, it has a light core, so I think it will be perfect together. And this is the glowhair from Westwool, so that's also fun that I bought their home brand, their own brand in their shop. So I always like that when you have something unique for that place. And I think this is a nicer combination than I saw on Saturday. Otherwise I would have just ordered it, I think. I like it, it's a little bit more dark. And this is 50 grams. And the other skeins of Ito, they came in 20 grams. And although Ito is a gorgeous yarn, and I think it was 40% silk, and this is only 29% silk, but price does count sometimes, because this is a cabled sweater and I need 400 grams of mohair, and that's a lot of money. And if I can do it a little bit cheaper and still be okay with how it feels, this is by no means cheapo. If you really want to go for cheaper mohair, you have to go to drops and stuff like that. But that's a little bit toothier, and I don't like mohair nylon blends, so I'm perfectly happy with paying a little bit more for quality yarns. This is really a quality yarn. It's not cheap at all, but it's cheaper than the Ito was, and I think the color is nicer, so for this project. So I'm very happy I chose to go into Stephen and Penelope, and I really want to start working on this sweater. I really want to, but I first have to. Those are really different projects though. So this is really thick yarn, fisherman's rib, and this will be very delicate yarn in a cable. Completely different. Maybe I will start it and we'll just have it started, because either way it's waiting for me like this, or it's waiting for me already on the needles. I'm not sure. I think I will finish this one first though. But yeah, I'm very happy that I bought this yarn. The only thing I'm thinking about is I really wanted this sweater, and you have the but it's like an older pattern already. You now have a pattern from Creabea. It's the Cargill sweater. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, but it's a really lovely pattern with a texture, and it uses the same amount of yarn, and I really like that one as well. But I also fell in love with this one, and they're looking completely different, but both mohair sweater with a texture that I'm thinking like maybe go with my first love and just knit this one, and then maybe next year I will knit the other one, and there will be a lot of more patterns out by then, so maybe I will just stick with the plan and knit this sweater, because otherwise it will keep bugging my mind, I think. So it's better to do that, I think. So it was a yarny weekend, and lots of yarn. I have way too much yarn now when I'm looking at it. All with a plan, almost all with a plan. I also have my single skeins of sock yarn and stuff like that, but they are not like hand dyed or anything. They're just commercial sock yarn. I think I'm doing okay, but I don't have to buy any more yarn for the coming months. I think it's enough now. And a lot of that's also a thing, like I have so many ideas, but I can only do so much. So I can buy yarn for everything I want to make, but then I won't fit in my house anymore because I want to make everything. So yeah, we will just have to go easy on the yarn shopping for now. But I was very happy with the purchases I made, and I have things to dream about the coming days, of thinking what I want to start and stuff like that. So that's all I have to say, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.